Episode 4, let's get into it. So let me first start by saying a little bit of a trigger warning here. I want to talk about KODY'S mental health and kind of global well-being in this video. I will warn you before we dive deep into it, but just know that that's coming. As far as a review of the episode, I thought it was a depressing episode. I feel like no one's doing what I want them to do. It starts with Christmas, and everybody sort of retreats to their respective safe corners. You have Robyn, Meri, and Robyn's kids. I don't know where Leon is. Christmas in one household. And then you have Janelle and Christine doing Christmas in their respective households. And there's no contact. I think that Christine and Janelle talk, but there's no contact between the kids and the other households. I guess I have a few thoughts about that. So the first is, I just imagine how big of a fight I would have to be in with my spouse to not call them on Christmas. That's a massive, I can't imagine being in that place psychologically that I wouldn't call my wife at Christmas. And then if you ask the question, well, how big of a fight would you need to be in that you wouldn't call your kids? And I think there's no fight that would put me there. I can't wrap my head around how KODY could navigate the holiday and not think about calling all of his kids. And by the way, I think the same is true for the other wives. I don't understand why Janelle isn't calling KODY or isn't facilitating the conversation between Savannah and KODY. If I were Janelle, I like to think that I would call KODY and go, "What the hell are you doing, man? I get that we're in a fight, fine, but call your daughter." I don't know why that discussion isn't happening. And so for me, I do feel a little bit like Janelle's allowing KODY'S psychopathology a little bit to derail the relationship between him and Savannah. I think Janelle's thinking, "Hey, KODY, you're making this bed, you're going to lie in it," and she's not intervening. And for me, I think it would be, I wish she would step in. I also think that Christine should, I don't know why, I guess maybe I don't understand polygamy or what a plural family looks like, but to me, if Christine saw herself as a parent to all of the other children, I don't know why she's not reaching out even to Robyn's kids. Why is Meri not reaching out to Christine's kids and to Janelle's kids? To me, it's like, I get that there's a separation with KODY, but I don't understand why all of the parents are sort of, it's almost like they're abdicating their role as parents to the other mom's biological kids. And I'm not sure I understand that, but I find it exceptionally frustrating because the kids are taking the brunt of this. And that brings me to the next issue here, which is the relationship between Meri, KODY, and Robyn. I can't imagine a worse experience than being in Meri's shoes at Christmas with Robyn and KODY while KODY's trying to fondle Robyn the whole time and Robyn's sort of being like, have some tact. It is like such an uncomfortable dynamic. And I was watching this with my wife and she's going, why doesn't Meri go somewhere else? Like, why can't Meri go over to Janelle's or Christine's house? At least with Janelle, I think she has a relationship with Janelle. Why is she putting herself in this awful situation? And I think it's because Meri has done what KODY has asked for. She has been respectful. She has been deferential. She has honored him, right? She's maintained this relationship despite the fact that it is completely loveless. And because she's maintained that, she's served the relationship with KODY over her relationships with Christine and Janelle. And so I think she doesn't have a place to go. It would be awkward for her to go over to Janelle's because she's not honored that relationship at all. And here she is, trying to connect with KODY, and he's got zero interest in her. She's the world's biggest third wheel. From a psychological standpoint, the amount of pain Meri must be in to be in that house during Christmas, I just can't imagine. And that comes to a head at the end of the episode when Meri turns to the camera and says, "I'm 100% certain that KODY wishes he wasn't in a relationship with me. I'm 100% certain that KODY wishes he hadn't married me." And it's like, I don't know how she manages that level of distress and pain and how she's done that for so long. And so it was great at the very end of the episode when she says, "I'm making some changes, peace out, bitches." And I assume the next episode is her sort of retribution as she gets the hell out of that relationship. I hope that's what it means. And that brings me to KODY in this. He had a conversation with his friend who is polygamist and who has been divorced. And I actually enjoyed the conversation because it gave me some insight into how Kody really feels about all of this. And the first big point, I think, was that Kody feels like he's been, in Kody's mind, I gotta be really clear here, this is not what we as the audience have sort of watched or observed. This is in Kody's world. In Kody's world, he has done everything he's supposed to do. He has provided for his 4 wives. He's taken care of the kids. He's been faithful to the 4 wives. He's right, all these things. And I know everybody's screaming, no, he hasn't been faithful, and no, he hasn't been fair, and no, he's not done right by all these people. But in Kody's mind, he's done right by all of these people, and he has behaved in alignment with the principle. And in Kody's mind, his 4 wives, at least 3 of the 4 wives, have not been faithful to the principle. And in particular, he brings up this idea of sacred loneliness, which I think the collective audience thinks is absurd, but it's this idea that you as a sister wife are going to experience incredible distress because you're going to be lonely, and that distress brings you closer to God. And I think for most people, that's a wild position for Kody to take. It's an absurd idea that these wives should feel like they're growing closer to God because they miss him so much, or they feel so isolated. Which I agree with. I think it's a wild expectation. But I do think if you look at other faiths, and I mentioned this the last time I watched this with my wife, I think that in other religious traditions, sacrificing your urges, people do believe that that brings you closer to God. So I think philosophically, I understand what Kody's saying. It's clear when Janelle and Meri and Christine reflect on this that they think it's complete BS. The point is, though, that Kody believes it. Again, Kody believes he's held his side of the bargain, and he feels like his wives are not holding this side of the bargain, save for Robyn. And so he is incredibly distressed because the whole world he's being dragged through the mud. The whole world hates him. They're screaming about how abusive he is, and he's going, I did what I said I was going to do. How am I the bad guy? And then there's this urge that he has, which he expressed to his friend, which is, I want to be bad. You say I'm a bad guy, well, watch me be bad. You think I don't have any emotional composure? Watch me lose my composure. Right? And Christine, you think that I'm mean? Let me attack you. Why don't you see what that actually looks like? And there's this urge, which I think from a psychological standpoint makes sense. If you think I'm a terrible person, well, then let me show you what that actually looks like. You think I'm screaming now? Watch. So in the episode, you sort of see Kody progressively become more agitated. And this is my trigger warning. Kody's frustration, to me, looked very unhealthy. And I didn't catch it the first time I was watching the video. It was when I was editing my initial reaction to it that I go, oh, wow. If I was Kody's clinician, if I was working with him, I would be very worried about the anger and the sort of apparent disregard for his well-being. He turns to the camera and he says, I've never felt this dark before. I've thought about leaving the people that love me most. I want to go and start over. I want to stop this pain. There's this sort of desire to separate himself from his current reality. Now, I know this was taped a long time ago. I know that Kody is probably safe now. But I just want to say, when we think about people harming themselves, it's not super linear. It's not like this is what always happens every time somebody harms themselves. And certainly, as a YouTuber who is just watching an edited version of Kody, I can't reflect on whether or not he's safe or what. But I can tell you that the combination of major life changes, extreme anger, poor emotional composure, like these and a little bit of a hysterical there's a part of Kody which is I think he wants people to know how much they've wronged him. I want to get you back for what you've done to me. That sort of desire to make other people suffer because of your pain, it's not a good combination. And I sort of think about suicide or self-harm in one of two categories. One is the lifelong pain and distress which has progressed over years, and somebody makes a decision over time that they can't take it anymore. That's one bucket. The other bucket is something has happened, I don't know how to handle this thing, and I make a reactive, impulsive decision that I can never take back. And I'm looking at Kody going, I don't think he's in the lifelong deep depression bucket, but I do look at him and go, man, you are impulsive, man, you are in pain. I don't know if you have any reasonable support system. And so as the audience member, I'm worried about him. If this is the state he's in right now, I do hope he's getting some clinical support. I hope he has a therapist and not the therapist that they're showing on this show. I hope he has someone who is genuinely invested in his well-being, because I watched it and thought that it was really concerning. So I don't know where there's no sort of resolution to that. I can just tell you that I thought it was really concerning. I'm looking forward to your thoughts and comments below. Thanks for listening.